Hello, this is Elena Sulks from Riverview Nursery. Today we're doing another live demonstration. We didn't do a live demonstration in the last 2 weeks because Aaliyah and I and Diane were in Atlanta, Georgia buying for the year at the gift mart. So there'll be more on all the really cool gifts that are coming into the nursery later. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how to make your own cacti and succulent soil mix. So here at Riverview, we do have a really great soil mix for cacti and succulent that you're welcome to purchase. It's $3.99. However, if you find yourself in a pinch needing to transplant a succulent or a cactus without any soil, we can show you how to make a quick fix using things from your own home. So what we generally do here is we just use a regular potting soil and some sand to create a mixture that is light enough and drains enough to plant cacti and succulent in it. You can also use some stone to help with drainage, but for our purposes today, we're just going to use these two. So it's really, really simple. So all you do is you take 1 part soil. I'm going to use a little plastic cup here to demonstrate. And you take 1 part sand. And you mix them together. To create a nice, light, well-drained soil. Now another option is that you can use 1 part soil, 1 part sand, and 1 part stone to create even more drainage in your pot. That's a really wonderful option as well, but this will work just fine. So once you do this, you're ready to plant your cactus. And what we're going to do today is we're going to plant up this little cactus into this pot. But I want to first talk a little bit about the difference between, sorry about that. I want to talk about the difference between cacti and succulents. So this here is one of the succulents from our garden center, and this here is one of the cacti from our garden center. I don't know if you can tell off the bat what the difference is, but the main difference is that cacti have spines and succulents generally do not. Succulents usually have these nice, thick, waxy leaves, and they perform in much the same way. Both kinds of plants want really, really bright, direct light, so you want to put them in a really bright window that gets a lot of direct sunlight over the winter. And they like warm temperatures. They generally can't freeze, and also they have some variances in how you water them over the winter, and for that matter over the summer as well. So both plants require less water than your normal houseplant. However, succulents require slightly more than cacti do. So generally, during the growing season, when the plant's getting lots of light and it's happy and it's sucking up all the water and using it to grow, you generally want to water succulents whenever the soil has gone completely dry. With cacti, the general rule is about once a week, unless you see that the plant is really suffering. But you can overwater cacti and they will shrivel up and die and kind of almost look like you've underwatered them, but you've actually overwatered them. So that's during the growing season. During this time of the year, what's happening is the plant has registered that there's less light and it's no longer growing. It's just sort of shut down for the winter. And so you can't keep watering it because it will just sit in that water and it will begin to rot and get fungal problems and it'll eventually die. So the general rule, again, general rules because each plant is a little bit different, is that you want to water your cacti really only about once a month, maybe every 3 weeks in the winter. And you want to water your succulents about every other week in the winter. So that's a little bit for your succulent and cacti care. Again, it's always good when you're buying a plant to make sure you get the name. Well, this isn't the name. If you can get the name, like in this case, this is an Echeveria neon breakers. It's a good idea to make sure you keep that whenever you buy a plant so that you can do your own research on your specific variety because they do vary just a little bit. But But now we're gonna plant this guy here. This is a little euphorbia. And so generally what I would do is I would add a little bit of moisture to this soil. Let me run and get a little bit. I forgot to bring that right here. Hi Carmen, hello Beth, thanks for tuning in. I'll be right back, 1 second. Okay, so obviously cacti don't need much, but you never really want to plant in totally dry soil. You want to give, at least allow the soil to have a little bit of moisture before you start planting it. Okay, so now it's just slightly wet. So what happens when you don't moisten the soil at all? You have bone dry soil when you're planting, and then when you go to water it, a lot of it runs right through instead of sucking it up. So generally, as a rule of thumb, whenever you're planting any plant, this guy doesn't have a whole lot of soil in its pot, but sometimes when you pull a plant out, you can see, you know, it comes out as one big root ball with roots running around the outside. You generally don't want to plant any deep, you don't want to plant any higher than where the soil line is in the pot that it's growing in. If you put your soil all the way up to here, when the soil line is here, what happens is it's going to trap moisture around the plant, and that could rot the plant and cause problems. So for most plants, that's the case. It's a good rule of thumb to just stay even with the soil line that's right here. So first I'm going to check to see if I need more soil in the bottom, which I do. This is a really cool silver square pot that we sell here at Riverview. Actually, I'm going to even add a little bit more dirt. This is a little bit too much sand. So I'm adding a little bit of soil to the bottom, putting my plant in, and then adding some soil around the edges. Again, I'm making sure not to bury it any deeper. Just using my finger to tamp down the soil on all sides. Now luckily this cacti is not terribly sharp, so I can hold it with a bare hand. However, if you do have a spiny cactus, I highly recommend that you get a really sturdy leather glove. We do sell cactus tongs, and some people do like using those, but I find that a really nice, good leather glove is the way to go when you're working with cacti. Okay. So I'm just going to wipe the dirt off the edges here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of stone on top just to make it look really pretty and to add to the whole effect. Oh, hi Carmen, I'm really glad that you're enjoying the class today. So really, the stone on top is mostly for aesthetic purposes, to make it look pretty, so you don't have just the look of the dirt. But there we go. We have our cacti happily planted in well-drained soil in a nice pretty pot with drainage. Again, it's good to have drainage whenever you're planting a cactus or a succulent because they don't like to sit in water. Any questions from the audience on the cacti? No? Well then, thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Elena Salks, and this is our do-it-yourself live tutorial, which happens every Monday. If you'd like to get notifications about these tutorials, please turn on your live notifications for Riverview Nursery's Facebook page, and you'll get notified every time I go live. I do this every Monday around 3 o'clock, and every Monday I'll bring you a new tutorial. So come in and see us. We are open all winter. We have slightly limited hours compared to the normal time. So we're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, Saturday from 10 to 4, and Sunday from 11 to 4. So please come see us, hang out in our garden center, and kick those winter blues. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.